That's tough, dude. Tough, dude.
Regular City Council meeting Tuesday, August 7th, 2018, 5:30 p.m. Notice is hereby given. The City Council of the City of Alpine, Texas will hold regular meeting at 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday, August 7th, 2018, in the council chambers at 801 West Holland in the City of Alpine, Texas, for the purpose of considering the tax agenda. This notice is posted pursuant to Texas Open Meeting Act, Section 551-043, Texas Government Code. Public notice: the use of cell phones are prohibited in the City Council chamber during meetings of the City Council. Members of the audience, we provide an opportunity to address the council during public hearings and during action items. Please speak into the microphone located at the podium and state your name and address. If you have a petition or other information pertaining to your subject, please present it to the city secretary. State law generally prohibits the council from discussing any or taking any action on any issue not included on the agenda. But if appropriate, the council may schedule the topic for future discussion or refer the matter to staff. No personal attacks from council members or the city staff will be allowed. The mayor may call a point of order to stop personal attacks. If an individual continues to personally attack the elected official or staff member in a meeting, they may be barred. Call this meeting to order. We'll have the invocation and receive the Reverend Joel McLeod.
Good evening. My name is Sylvette McLeod. I'm the pastor of the First Presbyterian Church here in Alpine and president of the Ministerial Alliance. Would you please pray with me? Oh God, we come today praising your name above all names and asking again that you would bless our city, our county, our state, and our country. Guide and direct all our public officials, especially our city council members and mayor, our city staff members, and our city employees, as well as our county judge, our governor, and our president. Please protect our military personnel, especially those who are serving in harm's way, as we all struggle to find pathways to peace in this war-torn and violent world. Oh God, we are trying so hard to put our best foot forward rather than into our mouths. We are struggling to project an image of intelligence and good common sense, and we hope everyone thinks of us as responsible, diligent, and successful. Yet we know, and we know that you know each one of us as we really are, imperfect and unfinished. Even though we have broken some of your commandments already this week, we are grateful to be able to come to you for mercy and abundant pardon. Thank you for accepting and affirming us just the way we are. However, at the same time, we pray that you would empower us to improve the real person you know each one of us to be. Make us as courageous in adversity as we are proud in success. Make us as fearless in the darkness as we are confident in the daylight. Make us as gracious to those in need as we are to those we need. Make us as forgiving to other people as we must ask you to be with us. Confident that all of our words and thoughts get through to you, we offer you now our grateful thanks and praise for the blessings of the life we shared together here in this beautiful area of West Texas. We make our prayer in the name of Jesus Christ, our living Lord and Savior. Amen.
Pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God,
Do we have a form, City Secretary?
Mayor, we do have a forum, and the notice was posted at 12 noon on August the 3rd, 2018.
Okay, before we start the meeting, there's a special guest here I'd like to introduce, Mr. Mike McCady. Hi.
I'm really glad to be here, Mayor, in person instead of on that screen.
Yeah, he's the gentleman you always see on the screen. So we got him in live,
No Photoshop
no
tonight.
Photoshop.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir, thank you. Okay, got some presentations, quite a few presentations, this meeting, and they're all birthdays to the following employees: Alfonso Baeza, David Martinez, Kurt, Kaufman, Alejandra Hernandez, William Holden, Aaron Villanueva, John Kennedy, Zachary Austin, Johnny Marcus, Michelle Mesh, and Chris Wright. Happy birthday to them. And reports. I don't have a report. City manager.
I don't have a report. We do have a quarterly report from the police department and animal control.
Okay. Who is first?
Down? No, that's he doesn't look like she's down.
He's a quite a little bit more thick. As you have a copy of the quarter reports.
Would you please introduce yourself?
I apologize. I'm Lieutenant Felipe Piotr with the Alpine Police Department.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, the numbers pretty much stay steady through the quarter from April to June. We also attached a copy of the July monthly report. Under court citations for May, you notice that it went up quite a bit from the average of about 22 all the way up to 87. One of the reasons is our STEP program that TxDOT funded, paid for our overtime to increase enforcement in the city during that time. That's why you see quite a big jump in the citations issue. The same goes for July, pretty much stays steady with April and June. Any questions, Mayor?
So I have a question. I should have asked this forever ago. It says calls for service, for example, July 621. Is that the summation of all the other numbers?
No, that's going to be just for July.
So okay, but no, I'm just looking for just for July. But if you take arrests, action reports, alarm calls, do all those add up to 621? I'm just trying to get some sense how to evaluate them.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
That's what I thought.
Yes, sir. All the calls combined, it's the calls of service.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
One question. I noticed on here that the number of general disturbances is 138, which I'm assuming is high. What does general disturbances include?
General disturbances includes loud music calls. Basically, what it is any type of verbal altercation. Just
What about dogs?
that will fall under the animal control.
Any more questions? Thank you very much, sir.
I appreciate it.
But you said really like.
Oh,
Are you also going to talk about the animal services?
Yes.
Jennifer.
Jennifer.
Okay.
Yeah. We didn't belong to the animal control. Thanks, sir.
Did y'all get a copy of our report? Okay. Would you like me to read this over or?
Please, by yourself.
Alrighty. So our total number of.
Jennifer. Could you please identify
Oh,
yourself?
sorry. Jennifer Stewart, I'm the supervisor of Alpine Animal Services. So this report is from April 25th to July 31st. Our total number of animal pickups within this time was 169. 14 of those were repeat offenders, so animals that have been picked up more than once. So 155 of those animals were unique animals, individual animals. Our total number of animals that returned to owner were 74. 10 of those were also repeat offenders. So technically just 64 unique animals. We had 27 surrendered animals. And let's see, we had 3 returned adoptions. We had 56 actual adoptions, so 3 of those actual adoptions were returned, which was pretty good. We had 38 transfers to other shelters, which is Grand Companions in Fort Davis, All Aboard Animal Rescue in Colorado. We actually have a transfer going next week for that, so we'll have some more out with that group. There's a couple of other rescues that we use for those numbers. We've had an adoption event every month. April was offsite. We did May through July at the shelter just because of the temperatures. It gets pretty hot out there for us and the dogs. So, and also we did place 19 microchips for the public during that time. So.
I got a question. Those 14 repeat offenders, do you cite them? How do you cite them?
The animal control officers that pick them up should be writing citations to those repeat offenders. The shelter staff is not able to write a citation, so the citation should be left there for our shelter staff, usually me, to give those to people when they pick up their animals.
And of these animals, of the total that you picked up, do they all have their rabies shots and are current under shots?
I can't tell you for a fact that all of them were. That's also included in citations. So
they're not giving them the inoculations there.
We can't give a rabies vaccination at the animal shelter. Only a licensed veterinarian can do that. So they have to go to their own veterinarian to get that done.
Okay. Do we have a method of follow-up to see whether they did it or not? I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, currently we don't follow up on that. It's just that would be some extra work that we'd have to put in place, which we could eventually do with increased staff.
Could you go and tell them what your staffing level is right now?
Our staffing level right now is me solo. I have one other person working. He is strictly he's on light duty. He cannot drive a vehicle for 6 months. So it's me. And I have kennel help. Yeah. And I have kennel help.
And your staff at what level? We funded you at what level?
Right now, I should have 2 animal control officers, myself, and then 2 part-time kennel help.
And you're not staffed at the level because?
We currently actually just hired somebody that's starting at the end of the week. We ran into a very unique situation with one of our ACOs being out on medical leave. So, and then somebody having to move. It was a perfect storm.
But you think you're getting enough support out of the court when you do write citations?
Honestly, I don't think so. We do have several citations that either get dismissed or if there's 2 animals, they'll just charge them for 1. Things like that. So, and that's if they show up. I go to every court hearing and that I can make. Usually it's most of them, and it's very, very rare that we have even just a couple of people show up for their court hearings. So.
Good question.
Hang in there. You're doing a great job.
Thank you for your service. I see you up and down with your folks.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Thanks, Jim. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll move on to public hearings then.
Mayor, the public hearing is to hear citizens' views and comments concerning an application for a conditional use permit for Jose Jr. and Ruth M. Macias for washing cars for friends and contract work for Big Ben Telephone Company property. Property identification, street address is 1701 West Gallego. Legal description is Means Addition, Block 18.274 acres out of the southeast corner. Property owner is Jose Jr. and Ruth M. Macias.
And they're here, correct?
Yes.
Okay, let's go ahead. Do you want to say anything on that?
My name is Jose Macias Jr. and I'm here with my wife, Ruth Macias. I'm here to apply for a conditional use permit to allow me to wash vehicles out of my shop that I had been doing at the time, but was not aware that I needed a permit to do that. I've gone through the zoning and planning committee. They voted 4-1, and I'm here today to see if the city council would allow me to continue doing what I'm doing. I wash one car at a time. I don't ever create any traffic jams for the city. I come to your place of business, you pick up the car, wash it, and bring it right back to you. So there's never no traffic jams in front of my shop. So hopefully y'all can allow me to continue doing this, and I can get back to doing what I like to do.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions?
How long have you been doing this?
Well, I've been here for a year and a half. I retired 34 years. I worked for Big Ben Telephone 34 years, retired, and I built this shop, and I've been working at it for a year and a half.
There hasn't been any complaints, right?
Sir?
There hasn't been any complaints, has there?
No. I was washing cars for friends and for Big Ben Telephone because I was working for them after I retired. They asked me if I would wash cars for them, and I agreed to do it. But the code enforcer explained to me why I couldn't do it, and I went through the procedures to get everything done legally, and that's what I'm here today.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Mayor, if I may have a question. The drawing that was submitted with your application indicates that you have a drain. Do you have the filtration system on there to keep the oils from the vehicles going into the sewer system?
Yes, ma'am. When I applied for the permit to build the building to begin with, I spoke to Robert Palazzo about washing cars out there. And he told me exactly what I needed to put out there, which was a P-trap and 2 cleanouts in case I ever had any problems with it. So those back them up. And I built it to this city one, and everything should be usual.
It's just not indicated on here that it's there, and I just want to make sure that everyone knows that
Yes, ma'am.
you're not further contaminating.
No, it's a commercial. It's for commercial use. Okay, I know it's not commercial where I'm at now, but it was built for a commercial.
Okay.
I'll take picture was there to visit you, right?
Yeah.
Any more?
Like to say a word?
Yeah, yes, ma'am, please.
My name's Karina Brown, and I live right across where he has his shop. And I see no problems with it. Like he says, there's no traffic backups or anything, no loud noise, no noise at all. He's a good neighbor to have that place there. So I'm hoping that he'll agree. And of course, there's only my husband and I, and the next door neighbor, him and his wife. We have a back neighbor, elderly lady, and that's all in our block. He's got a big old light, which helps us at night to see if anybody's around or anything. So I'm hoping you'll let me keep it.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Brown. Anybody else? If nobody else, we'll go ahead and move on to the consent agenda. City manager.
Consent agenda, approval of minutes from special city council meeting July 16, 2018. Approval of minutes from city council meeting on July 17, 2018. Approval of minutes from special city council meeting July 24, 2018. Appointment of Eva Maria Calderon for the Animal Advisory Board for Board 2. And the reappointment to the boards until 2020 that runs concurrent with council member Ramos Olivas, Board 2. Airport Board, Jimmy Morris, Building and Standards, Robert Savory, and Planning and Zoning, Tim Pearson.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the consent agenda as written.
I'll second. Okay. Any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to make my comment on the reappointment to the boards. To add for the Parks Advisory Board, Norma Oligoimo.
You'll need to add that on
Yeah.
the next
That's
agenda.
next meeting. It's not on the agenda. Okay, any more questions? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you. We move over to information or discussion items. And we'll start with tracks. Teresa Leslie. Leslie, I'm sorry.
Zelazny.
Yes, you got it perfect.
This is pretty much the raw data for the last quarter of tracks. We have a few programs. One is medical transportation, Medicaid. We have veterans who are transported, and tracks also serves anyone in the community who wants to go out of town. These figures are for Rooster County. We cover 5 counties, from Presidio, Van Horn, east to America. And I want to encourage you all to support tracks as a crucial program for our county. It is the transportation for those who do not have adequate transportation, whose cars have gotten old, people who become elderly and need medical transportation. We can improve. We can improve if we have more employees. So if any of you know of anyone who would like to work for tracks, we have plenty of hours to fill. In fact, most of our drivers are driving overtime right now, covering great distances because we don't have enough drivers. So we can always use more drivers. We can improve our services if we have more drivers. We can shorten the time that a person will spend in the tracks bus if we have more drivers. We would encourage you, if you have any complaints about our services, please refer them to us. We want to make note. We want to improve our service. It can be a little rough riding, a long, long day for many people who are taking the bus to other communities like Odessa for specialist medical appointments. So if there's any question I can answer.
So just trying to put in order what we're looking at. My impression is we're looking at April, May, June, July data,
Yes,
and it looks like they are for 3 or 4 different agencies, AAA, Medicaid.
programs. Yes,
Okay.
programs that we administer.
Okay, so that helps. Second question is, some of them looks like they pay tracks back for their services. How do you
Some
set
do.
these?
I would like to give you more information about that. I don't have that. Adonna Estrada in our Marfa office would have that information. Also, Tina Nunez has that information. She is the person in charge of tracks and scheduling. And for those who don't know about it, you can sign up for tracks, and but you must do it at least a day ahead of time so that you can be put on the schedule, and you will call after 4 o'clock to find out exactly when you will be picked up. Yes,
So as we probably don't, I'm aware of this. This is a procedural thing. In the future, we can get this documentation beforehand, because we typically have a kind of a rule that if it ain't in the black book, it didn't happen. Okay, but thank you. I probably didn't know that.
okay.
And I think we need to make the public aware of that.
Oh.
It'll save some confusion.
If you have any ideas, we talk to ourselves a lot, but if you have any ideas, that how we can make it, the public more aware so that we can get public support, so that we can improve our services, we can keep this going.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Okay,
Thank
thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, I apologize for being late. I thought the
You know,
meeting
you
was at
timed it just
6.
perfect.
Okay.
Next on the agenda.
Okay, now the next report by Chief Mark Scudder. Is the real Mark?
No, not today. Good evening, city council members, Mike Scudder, Assistant Fire Chief. And I apologize for not getting I had some technical difficulties with the computer trying to get it uploaded to you, so I left it for you at the beginning. I apologize for that. Normally I get those to you way in advance, and I wasn't able to this time. For the quarter that started April 1st through June 30th, we had a total of 29 fires. That's about average what we had for the quarter before. Luckily, we had no structure fires at all. Early on in April, May, we had the bigger brush fires because we didn't have our rain start yet. We had a lot of dry fuel out there. Still do, and of course with the rain, once everything dries out, we're going to have more fuel to come up with this fall. For April, we had 9 fires, fire calls, May 15 and June 5. There's kind of a mixed match on when the city calls versus the out of city limits. For April, we had the 2 out of city limit brush fires, 1 lift assist, and this time on the bottom I put what the other, under the way this is set up, the other type of calls we had. One of the call was a hot spot, and that was just a return for a brush fire that was an inner area of one of the larger fires that we had to go back down and extinguish some of the cactus that was on fire. Then we had a standby for a smoke call that was a possible fire that turned out not to be. We had a telephone pole that was from a lightning strike, and we had a control burn call that they thought it got out of hand, but they were able to get it back in control by the time we got there. For May, we had let's see, the 4 out of city limit brush fires. We had 1 vehicle rescue, 2 manpower assists, the 7 city limit, 1 out of city limit other calls. Those were, we had a railroad tie fire on the railroad track. We had a carbon monoxide leak call. We had the, where we assist with the water main break back in May. We had 2 electrical box fires. We had 2 reported smoke inside residence. And we had 1 tree fire that was from electric arcing, from a line that was arcing. For June, where we had the 5 calls, we had 1 vehicle rescue in city limits, 1 dumpster fire, 1 manpower assist. The 2 out of city limit calls, those were smoke reports that I believe one of them was a control burn that wasn't reported, and then by the time it was investigated, it turned out to be that. The other was just a false smoke report. So it's everything's about average for what we've done for the first quarter. Usually for this quarter coming up, July and August, September, we'll just see how the rains hold out and see what the weather looks like. Nationally, it seems like the brush fires are just out of control all over the country. California is really getting hit really bad. I know a lot of the agencies with the Texas municipal areas that send backup, they send a lot of our forces over to help with California. So unfortunately, it seems like that's kind of as it moves from the west this way, when we get the dry weather, we're probably up for having those fires come our way too. So
And a lot of fuel.
got a lot of fuel up there. And an update on our personnel, we actually have 7 new people from this last quarter, from April through June. We have 4 young ladies and 3 men that have joined the department, so we're up to 18 firefighters right now. So we're diligently training them, trying to get them ready for the upcoming brush fire season.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Can you give us a quick update on how we're doing on our fire hydrant checks? They look great, I just, we're on track.
We haven't done any lately, so I'm not sure what the status is on that actually. I think at the last time it was the water director was doing that. I don't know what status is actually on that.
So we get to find out who owns that. Yeah, we went through the whole, check all our 105 water hydrants, we got 242 going in, and we just need to make sure that.
Well, I know when we did the Sunday one late last week, when they turned the fire hydrant on, thinking it was gonna relieve some pressure in the line, it was dry. So that's out of the city, but I think we need to do that on a regular basis and keep checking those fire hydrants.
We had a plan, and Jay used to be doing that, so we just got to sign it. If he owns it, then they do it.
Well, and usually October, before we get to the time change, we usually go out and do some, lube the hydrants and turn them on.
Yep.
And send all the trucks out and done it. So we didn't have anything in the spring because at the time it was, I think the water director was doing that. And usually October we get to that. So we'll probably coordinate with the city and see who's going to do that. And they still want us to go do that in October or not. So.
And if you take the action work with the city manager, that'd be great. That way you guys get one.
Sure. Yeah, we like to go do it anyway. It's just good practice, turning on and off hydrants and then see what we have and what we don't have.
You got a bunch of new trainings.
Yep. Yeah, that'll be part of it.
Any more questions?
Any other questions?
On defense these days, I guess, is some of us know that a while back, under a former utility director several generations back, if they were instructed not to do it.
I know, I just want to make sure we got some of
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up so people know these guys weren't neglected. If they were told,
Yeah, right.
stop doing it.
Yeah, so it's kind of back and forth. We were, then we weren't, and then we were. But we like to go out there and at least see, what we have and, notify the city beforehand. Because I know a lot of people are diligent. They see a leak at a hydrant and they call it in and then they call and ask us, have you used this hydrant or whatever. So we want to make sure that's coordinated so everybody knows and save some phone calls to people that are just diligent, watching out for it.
A few years back, we had quite a few that were out of service.
Right.
And so what we keep on top of it, make sure we are safe.
And that's when I know that when the city started painting the hydrants red, then we knew that those were checked and everything. So, but there are the ones that are still old that haven't been. And I know the plan at that time was don't paint them if we didn't really know what the status was on them. So we definitely, if we see a bright red one that's been painted, that's our first target. We use our hydrant map, and that's probably something we need to get updated here sometime. So if we have any new targets on that we can look at, so we pre-plan that when we're responding and have a hydrant to go to.
Got another one last question.
Yes, sir.
Is there a reason why you have these little short fire hydrants and others are all standardized?
Deal, I think
It's what the city put.
that's what was put in. Yeah, if they're the little short stubby ones, then they are way old. And it's,
The shorter they are.
Yeah.
the older they are.
yeah, because they, most all of them have been standardized that have come up. And that does, and a lot of those, I drive around and look to make sure, because some of them are still sinking into the ground. And we have some that the coupling connection is so close to the ground that it's almost impossible to get that, the lid right off of the thing anyway, the cap from it. So, but those are, and I think from previous, way back when, there were discussions on, those are going to be a major problem to replace from my understanding. Because when they were originally put in the infrastructure, they were all welded straight into that area. So you have to take out the entire block or several blocks just to change a fire hydrant. And those are, you know, and those are a problem when you pull up and there's a hydrant that's shorter than a tire. It's hard to get to, but that's one of the things we'll skip over to the next one if we have to. But they are, and then also with some of the couplings with our trucks, we use large storage lines now, and if it has the steamer on the front of the hydrant with the too small, we have to make a decision right there which one of the hoses we're going to pull off the truck. We have to carry both sizes on each truck depending on the hydrant area, so it kind of complicates matters. But
Okay, thanks, sir. Any more? Okay, good report.
thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move to item C, city manager.
This is discussion on the Mountain Country Christmas event for the city of Alpine. In your packets, you see some backup documentation that we've been able to locate. And what we're asking in this discussion is to help us find a direction which to go. Because we've heard multiple stories, the documentation sometimes does not line up with what we're being told. And going to the third page on there, the first is the public notice that had been posted in the past and then an application. But the third page was a letter that was submitted last January to the former city manager. And I guess their assumption is that they would have it for 17 and 18, but there was no action taken after this date to confirm whether or not they would be hosting it in 18. And then there was also some discussion with another group that had done it in years past, wanting to know who was doing it this year. So we just wanted to get some clarification. Then in looking at mix, kind of review and comments that you made during the budget session about funding and supporting. I guess one of the other things that came up was there was an impression that they did not have to pay for the Civic Center. Even though our ordinance says they get a reduced rate as a nonprofit, but we were being told that they did not have to pay for it because this was a city event that they were organizing on behalf of the city. And so we wanted to bring it to council and have that discussion so we could get some direction. Who wants to?
It's
Hi, I'm Jerry Davis, and I'm with the Women's Club of Alpine. And we have done Mount Country Christmas, bin vendor, hostesses for the past 10 years. And it's Mountain Country Christmas is a 30-plus year event. How long it's been going on here. It kicks off the Christmas season. Last year, the city started their Christmas parade the same weekend. We have never paid rent for the building. The city provided. Our understanding is it's a city event hosted by a nonprofit. We are assigned it. We ask for it. You know, the council votes who gets it. It's a 2-year. You have it for 2 years, and then it comes up for another nonprofit can have it. If they don't, city council has always left it with the existing whoever had it prior. We've never paid rent. You provided the building. We have done all the legwork, paperwork, all that is out of our pocket. And that's it. And then the security, city says we have to pay security. That's fine, but city wants the money for the security, but that's not saying I'm not going to hire police officers. I might get county deputies. I might get border patrol. So why should I pay the city for security for this? When we paid the city one time, 1 year, we paid the city for the officers, and it was 2 months later when the officers finally got their money. And they're doing this on their time and not your dime. So I have a problem with that. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much.
Y'all have any questions or?
So you're basically just getting it free and it's the building.
Yes,
portion of it, right?
yes. The city has always provided the building for over 30 years now for this event.
So we have receipts from prior to 16 where it was paid for. So other organizations did have to pay it in the past. I don't know why it wasn't last year or the year before. There are receipts showing that it's been paid for.
So you've had it the last 2 years, correct?
We probably had it the last 4 years because they always call us when other ones drop out. 6 to 8 years and we've never paid. Never.
And I can verify that these people, when they come in to do this, they do all their own setup, they do all their own tear down, their own cleanup. I've seen them do it.
And again, that it goes back to, you know, who's got what story to tell, because we've also talked with Eddie, who maintains the Civic Center, and he does clean up.
Not after the Mountain Country Christmas.
Well, I haven't been there all the time that they're doing that. But when I come in there, I see that they are doing, they're taping and they're putting up the table, they take them down and all that kind of stuff. I can't guarantee 100%, but I do see that they do that.
Yes, sir.
So where's the money going?
The money goes for local scholarships to high school students. I want to say 95% of the money stays in the community.
But the whole focus is to give scholarships for high school students.
That's what we raise the money for.
For them going to college?
For college, yes. It goes for a college scholarship. And we try to give it to 2 students every year.
Okay.
Do you not also support the Family Crisis Center?
Yes, we do. We support the Family Crisis Center, the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. Our club supports a lot of the other nonprofits in town. We even help Presidio. That's part of our Family Crisis Center. We support them and Trilingua area. So yeah.
So I think the question, Jessica, you're raising is following up on the dialogue we had with Mick about, hey, there's not an issue being able to do this, but we as council have to make a decision and put a resolution on the table. This is something we want to go support because we believe it's in the best interest of the city to be able to go do that, because we're allocating city resources to be able to fill that need. And that's what Jessica's trying to get us to talk about. You know, so I'm just trying to help lead the witness, us, you know, in terms of what we need to go do. And I think what I'm hearing is we need to propose a resolution relative to this particular organization that it would be in the best interest of the city to go do that, and therefore allocate resources. Question we have to ask ourselves, given we do it for this organization, are there others that we need to make sure we're aligned with so we're being consistent? I think I got it.
Yeah. Either that, or again, if you do it for one, are you prepared to absorb the cost of the resources for all the others?
No, see,
So I'm really glad Mick's here today.
the difference between the Mountain Country Christmas and say the gun show or anything else, okay? This is a city event. The gun show is not.
I don't know that this is a city event. There's nothing that says, hey, there's no resolution or ordinance that says the city does Mountain Country.
That's what we're saying.
That's what
we're doing.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Mayor,
But-
if I could just talk a moment. I worked for the Chamber of Commerce for 10 years. The Mountain Country Christmas was started there, and that's what started the season here. All the events for Christmas, and the city would not charge for rent or anything like that. They would provide also the security, and the people would get paid for that.
The chamber does the parade also. The city does not organize the parade. The chamber does.
So the question is, if we do it for their organization, because they're a nonprofit and they give back to the city, my opinion is we have to clarify on the resolution that it's for people that give the city.
Well,
Not as a profit.
you'd have to define that because your ordinance on your fee schedule does not make any type of distinguishment between that. It just says nonprofits and the price for the nonprofits. It's reduced, so it's already discounted in your ordinance, but it doesn't allow for any distinguishing or special circumstances to waive it completely.
Mayor, could I make just
Yes,
a comment? I think it's been stated correctly. What you have to do when you want to provide city resources for the money or security or barricades for a parade or anything else is make a finding that it's the group you're providing the funds to or the resources to providing a valid public purpose in the best interest of the city. Then you're free, once you've made that determination, to do so long as you have some accountability that those resources are actually used for that purpose. And you can pick and choose. You can make the hard decision. This event we're going to be a co-sponsor of, for instance, or this event we are going to provide these resources for, and then turn some people down. There's no binding effect of it. However, from a practical standpoint, you as elected officials have to make those hard choices. Maybe you do want to, from time to time, consider several nonprofits or local events to participate with. But it's definitely best for the council to make those determinations and make them publicly so that the staff knows where the funds and resources should go.
Right. I think that's what our council was alluding to, was the fact that if you give it back to the city.
You could make that one of the considerations, but the primary thing legally is that they're performing a valid public purpose for the benefit of the best interest of the citizens.
We structure the resolution such that we don't open up Pandora's box here and get up, because these guys do a good job. My wife gets involved with it, so consequently I have to get involved with it. But yeah, keep domestic tranquility, you know.
But I think the key is to define exactly what is that service that is being provided, and are they the only ones that provide that service? And then what type of oversight or reporting do you want to see back from them on that?
Right. Some accountability where the monies are going for.
And you should have one thing in there that should be, the financial statement should be in your reports there. I did turn one into the office. So when it's not, we as a club, we don't make that much after all the expenses we have. Because the only thing the city has provided is the building and the utilities. That's it. We pay the security, all that.
And the building cost, it runs for how many days?
It's a 2 day. It starts Thursday night. We let the vendors start setting up, the bigger vendors, and then it's done Saturday by 6 o'clock, and then we're out by 9 in the evening, maybe 10 after cleanup.
So is that, just trying to understand, just is that 3 days worth then $250?
No, they're just $250.
Okay, so it's a $250 event, and then electricity.
In your assessment, do you see the Christmas, the country Christmas event as mostly a local activity, or do you have other people coming in from other sources?
We have people come from New Mexico, El Paso, Midland, Odessa, Corpus, Fredericksburg, San Angelo. We have them come from all over, but there is a number of local vendors also, because we'll have anywhere from 40 to 55 vendors every year. Yeah, it depends.
The idea that if you have participation from other than locally in Alpine, there's a pretty good chance that people that are coming are going to be staying overnight.
Right,
maybe
because
available or have qualified for maybe the hot funds activity.
We advertise in Midland, Odessa, and El Paso, but when the budget comes up for your hotel motel tax for the advertising, we don't, because we don't know when we're gonna get it or if we're gonna have it, after the 2 years, so nobody ever applies for it. See, so all advertising's coming out of our pocket also. See, so, yeah, it's just the building and utilities. It's all city provides.
City manager, how many other organizations are in line? Do we have it?
No,
So it sounds like,
but I don't know that we proposed it to anybody either.
sounds like one of us needs to go write a resolution and bring it back to council if we think that's the right thing to do.
And
So that was the purpose of putting this, because this is a public notice that has been advertised in the past, opening it up to other organizations.
but this is our last year to have it. So the notification would go out the following year, 2019.
So just a comment, my council member responded to the letter that was sent out. The only approval is the one from June 16, awarding it for 16-17. And then no action for 18.
So let me ask you a kind of pointed question.
Okay.
If you had, what's the electric bill for this thing? You know what I mean?
I don't know what the average electric bill is for there.
Okay, but if you had.
Say, I don't know, $100, $200 a day. I don't know. Is that a month?
I'm having an idea, I'll say $100 a day for
Okay.
3 days and $250. That's kind of where it is.
Mm-hmm.
If you had that money in your pocket, would you be moving forward to line up the country?
Mountain Country Christmas? Yes, sir.
Okay, and you wouldn't need our approval to do anything other than to lock in the room.
Yes, that's it. It's locked in there. See, when we mail out the contracts, city requires us to mail out paperwork involving or a list of all the hotels, motels, and RV parks in the city.
Okay.
We are required to mail that out with them by city.
And I don't know where that comes from.
So sounds like,
I mean, it sounds like at one point in time, it may have been like a hot funded event, but we don't have anything that shows that. Megan, do you recall seeing anything like that?
so
When I started, it was the American Legion at the front.
Yeah, and we got all of our stuff from them.
okay.
But now the book that's supposed to be in the city office has disappeared.
Okay. When do you need to make a decision?
I should have made a decision 3 months ago. I'm behind.
You're behind. How do you behind?
Well, I usually mail contracts out in the end of June, 1st of July, because vendors book 6 months in advance.
Okay. So our next city council meeting is not for another 2 weeks, right? Right. Is there a general view that the country Christmas is a good thing to go do?
Yes.
Yes.
It is.
Now, if you need us to rewrite another letter saying requesting the event again, we can do that. Not a problem.
Yeah, I'm about to get myself in trouble.
Maybe a copy of the contract that goes out. Is the contract your contract or?
No, that contract I give you is the one we got from the city. The only thing we change on it is the name of who's hosting it. That's it. That's all. It should be in the paperwork.
And the binder that they're supposed to have has our contract, has our vendor list in it. I've made 3 binders for the city in the last 7 years. And they've contained our contract and our vendor list for this event. I don't know where they've gone. But I can keep providing those.
In the meantime, maybe something to consider is, we understand correctly, the hot funds applications have been extended to the end of August.
The 15th. We still have time.
So that's why I said I'm about to get myself in trouble. Okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah, oh, no. So I'm gonna put $550 on the table for you and the country club, the country Christmas.
Okay.
Out of my pocket, not city council.
Okay.
So long as you go work back with the city and try and get this package put back together again.
I've been trying.
I know, but that allows you to press forward. Okay, so we get a process in place. I think council agrees it's the right thing to go do, but you can't wait another 2 weeks for us to decide whether we're gonna give money or not. And so my view is I will write you a check tonight for $550. You press forward and then work with the city secretary and the city manager to figure out the right process to go. And next time, this time, about June next year or whatever, you make a commitment, you're gonna come back and get us council lined up so we can get this on a schedule that makes sense. Is that fair?
Okay, but you lost me.
I'm a sponsor, you're coming to go use that room.
Okay, so then I'm gonna turn around and pay you 250.
Plus whatever you'll figure out your own security.
Yeah, I'll.
Yeah, it's just 250.
250 and whatever the utilities are, and you take care of the security.
Okay.
Is that fair?
You got it. Got it.
Okay, well, hang on.
So because it's a city building, we require that city police are the ones who provide the security.
Okay, but that's not stated in that contract that I signed.
Yeah.
It
But it's
says,
not, but that's not our ordinance.
That's our ordinance.
then that needs to be
Our
corrected.
ordinance reads that, it'll be
City property.
city property, city police.
Okay. Well, you can go do your planning, and we'll write a resolution to come back to say it's in the best interest of the city, and that makes sense.
I can wait the 2 weeks if you want to redo and have other things.
What I heard is, you're the one standing in front of us right now. Do you not want to go do this?
Yes, I do.
Then go do it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you're close to it. You got to check for $550 for it.
All right, that works.
Okay?
That works. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Item B.
Item D, discuss the appraisals completed by Superior Land Services for the Visitor Center, Neighborhood Center, Sunshine House, and Old City Hall. So in your packets, you have the cover page, which, and they're exactly like they're listed on. They don't have any more over there. So these are 4 of the appraisals that have come back that we requested. So the visitor center appraised at 159,000. The neighborhood center appraised at 181,000. The Sunshine House appraised at 336,000, and that's not just the house, it's like the lot in the area behind it. And the Old City Hall appraised at 495,000.
So we can move to sell them. That what you work.
That again, this is the discussion from council to see how you want to move forward with these properties. The Sunshine House is empty. But we probably would need to sit down and come up with a plan to relocate offices. The visitor center is still active. Of course, the Old City Hall is being used. And this at least gives us a discussion to say, let's start looking at doing something with the city department.
I don't think that they could properties that they should just the other ones that are occupied. We either have a contingency plan or we'll move to if we can.
Yeah, my view, we got kind of like $1 million worth of assets here, right? The majority of which is the Sunshine House. I think the question we as council want to ask the city manager to work is, what are some options relative to use of, if we happen to have these dollars, what would we go do to provide better services from a city perspective? For example, if the visitors, is where the visitor center right now a good place to be? I personally think it is, because that's where people want to be, okay? But is the neighborhood center in the right spot? My view could be that anywhere in the city. The Sunshine House we're not using, and what's our long-term plans for the old city hall? And I think what we want Jessica to do is come back with a couple of 3 options so we can talk about them In the meantime, I would think part of that is since the Sunshine's house empty, I could run a market, so we have.
Because that building, part of it's deteriorated, but the barn up there, we coming down on.
You know, there's a tree growing out of the barn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slab
Yeah, it's left it. I mean, yeah, so my view, do we need so I presume we need a resolution.
So we can do that, at the next council meeting, if that's what council wants to do. A resolution, I guess, to move forward with the sale of the Sunshine House, and then to put some effort into putting a strategic plan on the future for the building locations of the rest of the services.
And where is the old firehouse in this?
I believe they're still researching deeds for the firehouse, the airport, and what's the other one they can find? Animal shelter. Animal shelter.
Okay, well, the animal shelter, this is the one we currently use.
Yes.
Okay, the airport, no, that's probably not gonna go worry about that, and if I need to dive back in, we'll talk over.
Oh, and I think this city hall, the appraisal for
Okay.
current city hall, civic center, the animal shelter, airport, old fire station, and the gas building are the ones that are still being worked on.
So the gas building is probably not one we want to disposition. Well, I presume not, I don't know. But probably the old fire station might be one, if in a strategy you come back.
The next phase on the appraisals is to look at the other properties that the city owns, as far as undeveloped parkland, maybe some streets or dead ends that kind of like the bird property that we disposed of to the adjoining property owners.
Yeah, take that cash and do something with it that makes sense. Okay. So do you need anything else out of us?
No, I know what to do for the next meeting.
Okay.
Let's move on to the action items to be 37 effects, include where funds are coming from, if applicable. Action items limited up to 10-year meetings, citizens are allowed to comment, limit to 3 minutes after being called upon by the mayor. Citizens are required to state their name and the ward in which they reside. Priority will be given to citizens of Alpine and those who own business or property in the city. Individuals who do not live in or own business or property in the city of Alpine, limits of Alpine, will be allowed to speak if there's time available.
Item number 8 is discuss, consider, and take action to approve the new location of the downtown sculpture and payment of $6,630 through the hotel occupancy tax fund. Mr. Stevens.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I propose that we approve the new location of the downtown sculpture payment of $6,603 through the hotel occupancy tax fund, which the council has previously approved. You'll recall our last meeting, and it was reflected in the minutes that we approved that we said we should table this because we did not have the letter available from Chris Weber, who's the area engineer for TxDOT. That was late to the package. That letter dated July 17th is included in the package. And on that basis, I believe we have sufficient documentation to proceed with this. So I make that motion.
Is there a second? Motion made and second. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
My name's Carl Fleming from Ward 5. I've looked at that statue and I wonder why in the world is the city paying $6,000 for that? Art is in the eye of the beholder, I understand, but apparently it's not art in my eyes. I'm afraid.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Susan Curry, Ward 4. We stopped work on that when it's about 20% done because of all of these issues. And I'm just asking, yes, art is in the eye of the beholder, but this is not a finished project. It is only the infrastructure on which it all will stand. And I beg to differ with Mr. Fleming. I do hope that you will approve it. You've seen what the pictures look like, and we've done everything we can to just put it on hold until we get this corrected. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any more discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. Is that a yea or nay? Okay, motion carries. Thank you a little later.
Mayor, next, we have discussed, consider, and take action to approve the first and final reading concerning an application for a conditional use permit for Jose Junior and Ruth M. Macias for washing cars for friends and contract work for Big Ben Telephone Company property. Property identification, street address is 1701 West Gallego. Legal description is Means Edition, block 18.274 acres out of southeast corner. Property owner is Jesus Junior and Ruth M. Macias. Jose, I'm sorry, what did I say? Sorry. Jose Junior and Ruth M. Macias. I just gave your property.
Sorry. Yes, sir.
May I move that we approve the first and final reading concerning the application for the conditional use permit as written in the resolution.
Second. Okay, motion's made in second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
We'll be in line with our people to get the license. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. City manager.
Next, we have discussed, consider, and take action to amend and update the employee longevity policy. In your packets is the updated language for 6061 in our employee policy. It's part of the whole section 6000 and reflects the language that we discussed during the budget.
Okay.
So, Mr. Mayor, I move that we take action to amend and update the employee longevity policies presented under 6,000 compensation benefits.
Okay, motion made second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all
Second. Thank you.
okay. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. City manager.
Next, we have discussed, consider, and take action to authorize a new checking account to be opened for the airport for the purpose of maintenance and operation. And I will turn it over to Ms. Megan Hampshire.
So in the packet was included a letter, Megan Anthony, Director of Finance. Included in the packet was a letter explaining why the additional operating and maintenance account for the airport. During the reconciliation process for June of 2018, a check was cashed that had nothing to do with the city. It was issued by an unknown person. We did file a claim with the West Texas National Bank. The money has been returned. It was suggested by West Texas National Bank as a preventative measure to open a new account. That way, if another fraudulent check was passed through or was tried to be cashed, they could automatically stop it. So after the new one is open, the money is transferred, everything is accounted for, we will be closing the old one.
More security issue. Okay, any more discussion?
So I'm going to make a motion that we authorize a new checking account to be opened for the airport with the purpose of maintenance and operations.
Motion's made and second.
Y'all have a question? I just How is it that this is going to solve the problem?
So because they have the checking account number is what they basically use. They created a check that was printed for 90% of it and handwritten for the rest. It kind of mixes up. So now that they know that they can get one through, they can continue to try to get another through on that account number.
So why would they try that for any account number?
We're hoping that they're not. We're thinking, unfortunately, the police are aware as well. They have to make an investigation to look for it. It looks like it did come from another country. So it's just a a precaution we try and take. We're pretty tight with our checks and how they're issued, our account numbers. We don't make them public. We only provide the last four. It's becoming easier, unfortunately, for someone if they want to commit check fraud to do it. We're hoping that by changing the checking account number and setting up a whole new account, that if they do try again, hopefully they won't hit all of our other accounts either.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's.
It's really just a random thing. During the reconciliation process, we always double check to look. This one really just, it was handwritten on the amounts, which our checks are never handwritten, just the signature side. So of course, the first thing when I see it, I'm like, oh my gosh.
So was it, I don't want to disclose any security issues, was it a big number or relatively small?
It was a big number.
Oh, interesting. So the Nigerians are doing their thing, or whoever else.
I found the prints.
You found the prints.
So we're hoping that, of course, none of the other accounts get hit. If they do, I'll be back up here.
But now we're more cautious.
Oh, yes, we change it.
Good for you.
Yes, sir.
I call the question.
Okay. Questions been called for, all those in favor of the motion? Raise your right hand, opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Megan.
I have one more.
Next, we have discuss,
Oh,
consider,
we got another one, yeah.
discuss, consider, and take action to authorize a new checking account to be opened for the general fund to serve as a payroll clearing account to process wire payments to the state as per requirements under the Texas Family Code 158203. And again, I'm going to turn it over to you.
So we have met the threshold for the number of employees that the state has now regularly sent me a letter requiring us to submit certain payroll, like child support, student loans, certain things via direct deposit or ACH with them. In order to prevent additional security issues, it's easier to have one account for them to pull those funds out of instead of hitting 5 accounts. So we're requesting that we set up a payroll clearing account to allow them to withdraw those payments on behalf of the city and employees. Well, their account is really bad.
Mr. Mayor, I propose we authorize a new checking account to be opened for general fund service payroll clearing account to process wire payments state as per requirements of Texas Family Code 158.203 and resolution 2018-08-06.
Second. Okay, that was right second. Any discussion on the matter? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand, opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you. City manager.
Next, we have discuss, consider, and take action to approve awarding a contract to service for Director of Tourism for the city of Alpine. Mayor and Council, we had one sole submitter, which was Fast Graphics, done by Chris Regia, who has been providing those services to us for the past number of years, I believe. How many years? Since 2010. He's a newbie. So we're requesting that we award the contract to them and allow me to negotiate the fee on it.
Okay, just finalize something.
So I propose we approve awarding the contract of services for the Director of Tourism for the city of Alpine to Fast Graphics based on the proposal they submitted.
I'll second. Okay, motion's made and second. Any discussion?
The only point that I would make, and I do not believe it's material, but I want to disclose as a member of City Council, I have hired Fast Graphics to do work for a not-for-profit.
Very much.
I just want to report to the board.
Any more discussion?
I know we considered this in the new budget, 2018-19. Does that go off the fall into the schools program?
It'll come out of the advertising line item. Advertising program.
Any more? Okay. Question then. All those in favor? Raise your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. So Chris has the contract. Thank you all very much. Big surprise. Anyone? Okay.
Next, we have discuss, consider, and take action to move the September 4th, 2018 City Council meeting. We're just making sure that we will have quorum for that regular council meeting, if not to change the date or cancel it altogether.
That is the labor that you say after a little bit.
I'm not proposing it because I think that I was standing out before.
What's that?
I think that I was standing before, so.
I'm gonna say what?
I agree. I can support your change.
Okay, then entertain a motion.
I move that we keep the meeting on September 4th for the regular city council meeting.
I said. Okay, motion been made and seconded. I'll say four. Any discussion? Will everybody be here? The answer is yes, okay. Any more discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, like sign, so the meeting stays on the board.
Hallelujah. Thank you.
No, because the motion was, sorry, was that all in favor?
It's
So it
unanimous.
was, just checking. Maria
Unanimous.
and who?
Okay, let's go to the Dean, City Manager.
Discuss, consider, and take action to approve a resolution setting a public hearing on a proposed annexation and authorizing and directing the mayor to publish notice of such public hearing.
This is the annexation proposal for the housing development on
Oh, you're talking to me?
Let you, yeah. That did not, it didn't sound right when I said that. Yeah. a little bit.
I'll finish with that in a second. So let you be.
Yes, and I believe we have representatives here. Yeah. All right, you guys want to go? After you make a motion.
Yes. Look, I will entertain a motion.
Over here.
So I'm happy that the council approved a resolution setting a public hearing on proposed annexation, authorizing and directing the mayor to publish notice of such a public hearing consistent with resolution 2018-08-07.
Second. Okay, motion's made in second. Any discussion now?
Okay.
The floor is yours.
Your turn.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Chang Ho Yi with Train Associates. I'm here representing the Developer Investment Builders Inc. for this project as engineers. We are just requesting to allow the annexation of this project. This is going to be a multifamily, about 49 unit preliminary for the moment apartment project. And the annexation would allow this property to be within the city limits and allow the utility services that's provided by the city to get the rate that matches the city versus the additional rate that would be required if it's within the county. And so because it's right next to the city limits, we're requesting to propose and allow the annexation.
Question, is there a draft annexation document in place?
Yes.
And we've reviewed that.
Good.
Yes.
So we'll have the opportunity for council to see that prior to making the final decision.
Yes, so the calendar's already been prepared, the ordinance, the draft has already been sent over to Meg, as well as kind of the other documents that go along with that. The service plan's been submitted to Meg, he's reviewed it, so once we start the public hearings, then we'll start pushing all that other paperwork through that.
And I just think it's important for us as council to recognize what our service plan is. So we're all aligned with what that action item is, because we think about responsibilities that the city has versus those who are coming in that we propose annex. We want to make it really clear on this property.
Absolutely. And for those of you that don't know where the Chuquilla is, right next to Bama 118 South. Okay. Any more discussion? Make it? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. Thank you. Motion carries.
Next, we have city council member comments and answers. No discussion or action may take place.
We'll start on my right.
I'm glad to see everybody here tonight. Okay.
say, thank you to fellow councilman, mayor, for, again, the appointment of the new, members to the animal advisory board, as well as a reassignment of previous members to the other boards and commissions for Ward 2. And to them, I look forward working closely with you and doing some good things for a great city.
Yeah, this is impressive. This is a real nice group we got here today. And I noticed that Ward 3 is well represented also. So, yeah, so welcome to, sure glad everybody showed up. Come out to these things more often. We want to get everybody involved, So.
Councilmembers, go ahead.
I just wanted to thank everybody for coming, and I'm glad that we gave out such a Christmas
Your next, sir.
So I'd like to echo those comments that everyone's here. This has been a busy time for council. We've been working budget. We've got lots more to hawk through. We had public hearing last night. We've had multiple meetings on the part of the city council. We had a meeting yesterday and today on the hot funding. So we carried that out with the additional education on the hotel occupancy tax funding yesterday, and then another one today at 10. We had the advisory board workshop today, and I think there were probably 35, 40 people there. I want to thank Nick for doing a great job helping everyone get up to speed on the Texas Open Meeting Act, which is really critical. Thank you for doing that. And Nick, so glad you're here. I hope we see more of you. You're okay on the TV, but you're much better in person.
Well, thanks. Well, I'd like to come more. I would like to be here more, no doubt about it.
It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
This city has lots of things we're all trying to do, and it's great. I think we've got a good team here to work that by partners. So,
Thank you. Mick, thank you very much for
Thank
attending.
you, Mayor. I'm happy to be here as often as I can be. Thank you.
And all those that attended here at City Council, we took care of a lot of business, and now we can move forward. Thank you all very much, and we'll be going to executive session.
Mr. Mayor, I propose that pursuant to the Texas Government Code Section 55-1-071 consultation with attorney and 55-1-074 personal matters, that we move into executive session to discuss 3 items on the agenda relative to individual status and performance for the city.
Okay, second. Motion made with second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Like sign. Motion carries. Thank you, sir. We'll take a 5 break.
5 minutes. So it's great time.
We go to